Akbar, the greatest of the Mughal emperors of India. He reigned from 1556 to 1605 and extended Mughal power over most of the Indian subcontinent. In order to preserve the unity of his empire, Akbar adopted programs that won the loyalty of the non-Muslim populations of his realm. He reformed and strengthened his central administration and also centralized his financial system and reorganized tax collection processes. Although he never renounced Islam, he took an active interest in other religions, persuading Hindus, Parsis and Christians, as well as Muslims, to engage in religious discussion before him. Illiterate himself, he encouraged scholars, poets, painters and musicians, making his court a center of culture. Akbar was descended from Turks, Mongols, and Iranians, the three peoples who predominated in the political elites of northern India in medieval times. Among his ancestors were Timur and Genghis Khan. His father, Humayun, driven from his capital of Delhi by the Afghan usurper Sher Shah Afzuri, was vainly trying to establish his authority in the Sindh region, now Sindh province, Pakistan. Soon Humayun had to leave India for Afghanistan and Iran, where the Shah lent him some troops. Humayun regained his throne in 1555, 10 years after Sher Shah's death. Akbar, at the age of 13, was made governor of the Punjab region. Humayun had barely established his authority when he died in 1556. Within a few months, his governors lost several important places, including Delhi itself, to Hemu, a Hindu minister who claimed the throne for himself. But on November 1556, a Mughal force defeated Hemu at the Second Battle of Panipat, which commanded the route to Delhi, thus ensuring Akbar's succession. At Akbar's accession his rule extended over little more than the Punjab and the area around Delhi, but, under the guidance of his chief minister, Bairam Khan, his authority was gradually consolidated and extended. The process continued after Akbar forced Bairam Khan to retire in 1560 and began to govern on his own, at first still under household influences but soon as an absolute king. Akbar was a cunning general, and he continued his military expansion throughout his reign. By the time he died, his empire extended to Afghanistan in the north, Sindh in the west, Bengal in the east, and the Godavari River in the south. Akbar's success in creating his empire was as much a result of his ability to earn the loyalty of his conquered people as it was of his ability to conquer them. He allied himself with the defeated Rajput rulers, and rather than demanding a high tribute tax and leaving them to rule their territories unsupervised, he created a system of central government, integrating them into his administration. Akbar was known for rewarding talent, loyalty, and intellect, regardless of ethnic background or religious practice. In addition to compiling an able administration, this practice brought stability to his dynasty by establishing a base of loyalty to Akbar that was greater than that of any one religion. Beyond military conciliation, he appealed to the Rajput people by ruling in a spirit of cooperation and tolerance. He did not force India's majority Hindu population to convert to Islam. He accommodated them instead, abolishing the poll tax on non-Muslims, translating Hindu literature and participating in Hindu festivals. Akbar also formed powerful matrimonial alliances. When he married Hindu princesses, including Jodha Bai, the eldest daughter of the House of Jaipur, as well princesses of Bikaner and Jaisalmer, their fathers and brothers became members of his court and were elevated to the same status as his Muslim fathers and brothers-in-law. While marrying off the daughters of conquered Hindu leaders to Muslim royalty was not a new practice, it had always been viewed as a humiliation. By elevating the status of the princesses' families, Akbar removed this stigma among all but the most orthodox Hindu sects. In 1574, Akbar revised his tax system, separating revenue collection from military administration. Each subah, or governor, was responsible for maintaining order in his region, while a separate tax collector collected property taxes and sent them to the capital. This created checks and balances in each region since the individuals with the money had no troops, and the troops had no money, and all were dependent on the central government. The central government then doled out fixed salaries to both military and civilian personnel according to rank. Akbar was religiously curious. He regularly participated in the festivals of other faiths, and in 1575 in Fatehpur Sikri, a walled city that Akbar had designed in the Persian style, he built a temple where he frequently hosted scholars from other religions, including Hindus, Christians, and Muslims of other sects. He allowed the Jesuits to construct a church at Delhi and discouraged the slaughter of cattle out of respect for Hindu custom. Not everyone appreciated these forays into multiculturalism, however, and many called him a heretic. In 1579, a declaration was issued that granted Akbar the authority to interpret religious law, superseding the authority of the mullahs. This became known as the Infallibility Decree, and it furthered Akbar's ability to create an interreligious and multicultural state. In 1582 he established a new cult, the Din-i-Ilahi Divine Faith, which combined elements of many religions, including Islam, Hinduism and Zoroastrianism. The faith centered around Akbar as a prophet or spiritual leader, but it did not procure many converts and died with Akbar. Unlike his father, Humayun, and grandfather Babur, Akbar was not a poet or diarist, and many have speculated that he was illiterate. Nonetheless, he appreciated the arts, culture and intellectual discourse, and cultivated them throughout the empire. Akbar is known for ushering in the Mughal style of architecture, which combined elements of Islamic, Persian and Hindu design, and sponsored some of the best and brightest minds of the era, including poets, musicians, artists, philosophers and engineers, in his courts at Delhi, Agra and Fatehpur Sikri. He died in 1605. Some sources say Akbar became fatally ill with dysentery, while others cite a possible poisoning, likely traced to Akbar's son Jahangir. Many favored Jahangir's eldest son, Khusro, to succeed Akbar as emperor, but Jahangir forcefully ascended days after Akbar's death.